What if, somewhere out there in the vast darkness of space, lies a world that could become humanity's second home? A planet hidden among billions of stars, carrying the answers to the questions we've whispered for centuries. Are we alone? Could we survive beyond Earth? Could another planet save us when ours begins to fade? For thousands of years, we have looked up at the night sky with wonder, tracing constellations, writing myths, and dreaming of places beyond our reach. But today, our dreams have turned into a race against time. Earth, our only home, is changing. The ice is melting, the air grows heavier, the seas rise higher, and the fragile balance of life trembles under the weight of human choices. In the face of this reality, we are forced to ask ourselves, if Earth cannot carry us forever, where will we go? Scientists have already discovered planets orbiting distant stars that seem strangely familiar. Planets with oceans that shimmer beneath alien suns, atmospheres that whisper the promise of breath, and landscapes that might one day carry the footsteps of humanity. These are not just numbers in telescopes, not just coordinates in space. These are worlds with the potential to become our future. But here is the haunting truth. Every discovery raises more questions than answers. Could we truly survive the journey to another star? What would it mean to abandon the Earth that gave us life? And if we find another planet, capable of sheltering us, capable of saving us, will we protect it better than we protected our own? This is not just a story about science. It is a story about hope, about survival, and about the choices that will define us as a species. It is the greatest adventure we may ever face, the search for life beyond Earth, and the desperate question echoing through every heartbeat. Could this planet save us? Before we take this journey together, pause for a moment. If mysteries of the universe, questions of survival, and the wonders of space move you the way they move us, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Join our growing family of dreamers, seekers, and explorers, because together we will go beyond the limits of Earth and into the endless unknown. From the moment humanity first looked to the skies, we have felt a pull and unshakable curiosity about what lies beyond. For centuries, we imagined gods living among the stars, or hidden worlds shaping our destiny. But now, science has given us the tools to replace myth with discovery. Telescopes scan the heavens, satellites capture the glow of distant suns, and data streams reveal planets orbiting faraway stars. These planets are more than just points of light. They may hold oceans like ours, mountains like ours, and perhaps, just perhaps, the spark of life itself. For the first time in history, we stand on the edge of knowing. Could we find a place beyond Earth that might one day save us? Could another planet hold the future of humanity? This documentary is not just about distant stars or scientific data. It is about us, our fears, our hopes, and the legacy we will leave behind. Together, we will step into the cosmic unknown, uncovering the planets that whisper promises of survival, and facing the emotional question at the heart of it all. What will happen to us if Earth can no longer be our home? The Earth is not just a planet. It is our only home, the cradle of every dream humanity has ever known. From the air we breathe, to the water that runs in our veins, to the soil that feeds us, every part of our being is tied to this world. For thousands of years we have walked its forests, sailed its oceans, and climbed its mountains, often forgetting how fragile it truly is. We act as if Earth will always be here, always forgiving, always providing. Yet the truth is far more delicate. Our home is not unbreakable, it is fragile, and its limits are beginning to show. When you close your eyes and think of the most peaceful place on Earth, maybe you imagine a quiet beach, a snowy mountain, or a green meadow under the sun. All of these moments of beauty are gifts of balance, delicate systems that depend on harmony in the air, the land, and the sea. But what happens when that balance begins to break? What happens when the very systems that keep us alive start to shift, slowly at first, and then faster than we can control? That is the reality of our time. The earth is speaking, not with words, but with storms, with heat, with rising waters, and with silence in places where once there was life. Climate change is no longer a distant warning. It is here. It is real. Glaciers that have stood for millions of years are melting into the sea. Coral reefs, once alive with color and life, are turning pale and lifeless. Forests that once echoed with the songs of birds now fall silent as fires and destruction sweep through them. And the air we breathe, the most basic gift of Earth, grows heavier with smoke and pollution. It is as if the planet is gasping, struggling to breathe under the weight of what we have done to it. The seas are rising, slowly but relentlessly. For someone standing on a beach, a single wave may seem harmless. But across decades, these rising tides swallow villages, wash away farmlands, and creep into cities where millions live. Small island nations already face the terrifying truth of disappearing beneath the waves. Families lose their homes not because of war or disaster, but because the sea quietly takes them away. And for every home lost, a piece of humanity's heart is lost too. Imagine watching the place where your ancestors lived, where your childhood memories rest, slowly vanish beneath the water. That is happening right now. The Earth's resources, the things we once believed were endless, are beginning to fade. Rivers that once ran strong now dry to cracked beds of dust. Fields that once grew food for millions now lie barren under the burning sun. Animals that once roamed freely vanish one by one, their absence leaving behind an emptiness that can never be replaced. We forget that the earth does not belong to us alone. It belongs to every creature, every tree, every breath of wind. But in our hunger, we have taken more than we give back, and the balance is breaking. There is a painful irony in all this. Humanity has built towers that touch the sky, machines that fly us across continents, and technologies that connect us across oceans. Yet for all our intelligence, we are struggling to protect the one thing that makes all of this possible, our planet. We can live without our cities, without our luxuries, even without our inventions. But we cannot live without Earth. Every invention, every dream, every piece of progress is meaningless if we destroy the ground beneath our feet. The urgency we feel now is not only about saving nature, it is about saving ourselves. The Earth will endure, in one form or another, long after us. But will we? If the seas rise higher, if the storms grow stronger, if the heat becomes unbearable, humanity itself is at risk. Children born today may face a world where clean water is a luxury, where food is scarce, where homes are washed away by floods or burned by fires. The choices we make now will determine whether the next generations live in hope or in fear. This fear, this sense of urgency, is why humanity has begun to look beyond the stars. For the first time, we are seriously considering the possibility of another home. We are asking questions we never thought we would need to ask. Could there be another planet that holds oceans like ours? Could there be skies we could breathe beneath? Could there be a place where humanity might find shelter if Earth can no longer carry us? It is not only about science, it is about survival. There is something deeply human about this search, a mix of desperation and hope. We look at the stars not just with wonder, but with a silent plea. Is there somewhere out there where we can begin again? Somewhere that will forgive our mistakes? Somewhere that will give us another chance? And yet, behind this hope lies a shadow. If we could not protect our first home, how can we promise to protect another? The truth is painful but clear. We feel the urgent need to look elsewhere because we are afraid. Afraid that the beauty we once took for granted is slipping away forever. Afraid that the Earth's patience has limits, and those limits are being reached. Afraid that the home we thought eternal is far more fragile than we imagined. And in that fear, we reach for the stars, desperate to find comfort in the unknown, because the familiar is crumbling before our eyes. Yet, even in this fear, there is love. We do not search for another planet simply because we want to abandon Earth. We search because we love life too much to let it die. We search because we cannot accept that everything humanity has ever created, dreamed, or loved could vanish with the falling of one fragile world. We search because deep within us there is a fire that refuses to give up, a spirit that insists on survival no matter the cost. The fragile Earth is teaching us a lesson written in fire and flood, in drought and storm. It is telling us that nothing lasts forever unless it is cared for. It is warning us that the gift of life is not permanent, that it must be protected every single day. And perhaps, if we listen closely, it is reminding us that even as we look to the stars, we must not forget where we came from. Because before we can find life beyond Earth, we must learn to cherish the life we already have here. The Earth is fragile, but so is humanity. And in this fragility lies both danger and beauty. For fragility reminds us of what can be lost, but it also reminds us of what is worth fighting for. Our home may be trembling, but it is still alive, still breathing, still capable of being saved. And if there is one truth stronger than all the fear, it is this: as long as Earth still gives us air to breathe, water to drink, and ground to stand on, there is still hope. Long before we had telescopes, before rockets cut through the skies, before satellites circled above our heads, humanity already carried the stars in its imagination. Ancient civilizations, with no science to explain the universe, still looked upward every night and wondered. They saw lights that shimmered across the dark sky, lights that moved in patterns, lights that seemed alive. To them, the heavens were not just empty space. The heavens were a story, a map of gods, of spirits, of destinies written far beyond their reach. Imagine a night thousands of years ago. There are no streetlights, no noise of machines, only the sound of the wind and the flicker of fire. People sit together under the vast sky, their eyes fixed on the endless darkness above. For them, the stars are not random points. They are companions. They are mysteries. They are signs that there is something more beyond the limits of Earth. In those moments of silence, the first dreams of other worlds were born. The ancient Egyptians believed the sky was a kingdom of gods. They saw the stars as the souls of the departed, traveling across eternity. To them, Orion was not just a constellation. It was Osiris, the god of rebirth. The Milky Way was the celestial river, reflecting the Nile, carrying life through the heavens as it did on Earth. This was not just myth. It was humanity's way of connecting Earth to the universe, of saying, we are not alone. We are part of something greater. In Mesopotamia, the people built ziggurats, giant step pyramids that reached upward as if trying to touch the sky. Their astronomers carefully tracked the movement of stars and planets, believing they carried messages from the gods. To them, Mars was not a planet of rock and dust. It was Nergal, the god of war. Venus was Ishtar, the goddess of love and beauty. Every point of light had meaning. Every star was alive. And while they may not have spoken of aliens or distant civilizations, they still imagined life beyond Earth in the form of divine beings who ruled the universe. The Greeks took these ideas further. They wove myths around constellations, turning them into eternal stories. But they also asked questions. Philosophers like Anaximander and Democritus wondered if other worlds might exist, worlds like Earth, with mountains and rivers, maybe even with creatures. This was thousands of years before telescopes, yet already the seeds of scientific thought were taking root. Even then, curiosity was pushing humanity to imagine beyond what could be seen. For the Mayans, the sky was a calendar, a clock written in stars. They believed the heavens guided life on Earth. Their pyramids were built in perfect alignment with celestial events. To them, the universe was alive with order and rhythm. They imagined cycles of life not just on Earth, but written into the very fabric of the cosmos. And in those cycles, they saw possibility and understanding that the universe itself had a story, and perhaps other worlds were part of that story too. The Chinese sky watchers, thousands of years ago, recorded comets, eclipses, and supernovas. They saw the heavens as a reflection of harmony between Earth and the divine. A star's sudden appearance was not just an astronomical event. It was a message, a sign. And behind that belief was the same human truth. A feeling that the universe was alive, that beyond the Earth's edge, something greater waited. What is remarkable is not just what they believed, but what they felt. These civilizations, separated by oceans and centuries, all looked at the same sky and dreamed. They all gave names to stars, imagined stories, and connected their own lives to the vastness above. They had no rockets, no science, yet their hearts told them something important, that the universe was not empty, that there was more beyond Earth. Curiosity was their greatest power. It was curiosity that made them draw constellations, curiosity that made them build pyramids aligned with the stars, curiosity that made them write myths and legends. Even when they feared the heavens, even when they imagined gods who could punish them, that fear was still part of a greater truth. They could not ignore the sky. They could not stop wondering. For a child in ancient times, the night sky must have felt endless. Imagine a young boy or girl lying on their back, watching the stars appear one by one. No city lights to hide them, no walls of concrete to block them. Just endless space, endless mystery. For them, each star was not far away. It was close. It was part of their world. They may have whispered questions. Who lives up there? Where does the sun go when it disappears? What lies beyond the moon? These questions, innocent and simple, were the beginning of the human journey into space. There is something profoundly emotional about this shared human experience. Every civilization, no matter how different in culture or language, looked up and asked the same question. What is out there? That question connected them across time. It connects us to them even now. When we look at the night sky today, with all our telescopes and technology, we are still asking the same question. We are still driven by the same curiosity. For the ancients, the stars were teachers. They guided farming, navigation, and even survival. But they were more than that. They were also windows into possibility. They proved to humanity that there was something beyond our daily struggles, something vast and eternal. And in that vastness, people found comfort. If life on earth was fragile and uncertain, perhaps the heavens held permanence. Perhaps the gods or spirits above would protect them. In their myths, they created worlds beyond earth, because they needed hope, they needed meaning, they needed to feel that life was bigger than themselves. It is easy to dismiss these stories as mere superstition, but in truth, they were the first steps of imagination. Without myths, without dreams of gods among the stars, humanity might never have dared to search further. Myths gave us permission to dream. They told us that the heavens were alive, that something waited for us out there. And even if those early visions were not scientifically accurate, they carried a truth more important than facts. The truth that curiosity gives us life. There is beauty in this. Think about it. Thousands of years before electricity, before airplanes, before cities of glass and steel, people already felt the pull of the stars. They already felt that the universe was calling them. And that same call still echoes today. We build rockets, telescopes, and probes, but the emotion behind them is the same as it was when an ancient child looked at the Milky Way and whispered a question to the sky. The first dreams of other worlds were not about escaping Earth. They were about belonging. They were about understanding that humanity is part of a greater whole, part of a universe too vast to fully know. These dreams reminded us that life is not confined to the soil beneath our feet, but perhaps stretched across the heavens. And in that possibility, we found courage, creativity, and wonder. Curiosity is the thread that ties us to our ancestors. It is the force that carried their myths into our science, their stories into our exploration. It is what keeps us reaching higher, searching further, asking louder. It is what will carry us beyond Earth one day, not just because we must survive, but because we must know. The ancients gave us the gift of imagination. They taught us that it is not enough to live, we must also wonder. They showed us that the night sky is not just a backdrop, but a mirror, reflecting our deepest fears and our greatest hopes. And in every myth, in every story, in every dream of gods and other worlds, there was a seed of truth that still grows within us. The universe is waiting, and we are meant to reach for it. The first dreams of other worlds were born in firelight, in songs, in myths carved into stone. They were fragile, but powerful. And those dreams never died. They live in us still, in every question we ask when we look at the stars, in every heartbeat that quickens at the thought of life beyond Earth. The ancients dreamed, and because they dreamed, we now explore. For thousands of years, the stars looked unchanging to us. They were tiny lights, distant fires decorating the night sky. We imagined gods, spirits, and stories written among them, but we could not know their truth. The stars seemed eternal and unreachable. Then came science, and with it, the courage to ask not just what those lights were, but what might be around them. Could those stars, so far away, have planets like Earth circling them? Could they hold new worlds waiting for discovery? This question, whispered by ancient philosophers, became one of the greatest quests of modern times. The invention of the telescope in the early 1600s was the first step in changing our relationship with the universe. When Galileo turned his small telescope to the night sky, he saw moons orbiting Jupiter, phases of Venus, and details of our own moon that no human had ever witnessed before. His discovery shattered the old belief that everything in the sky revolved around Earth. Suddenly, the heavens were not perfect, unchanging spheres. They were places, filled with movement and mystery. And though Galileo could not see planets around other stars, he opened a door. He proved that the universe was richer and stranger than we imagined. Centuries passed, and telescopes grew more powerful. Astronomers mapped the stars with incredible precision, watching them night after night, year after year. Still, the question remained unanswered. Were there planets beyond our solar system? For a long time, it seemed impossible to know. Stars are so bright, while planets are so small and dim. Trying to see an exoplanet directly is like trying to spot a firefly next to a blazing lighthouse from thousands of miles away. The challenge felt overwhelming, and yet the human spirit is not easily stopped. By the late 20th century, technology began to catch up with imagination. Astronomers devised clever methods, ways of seeing the invisible. One method was called the wobble technique. If a star had a planet orbiting it, the planet's gravity would tug slightly on the star, making it wobble back and forth. We could not see the planet directly, but we could measure the star's tiny movements. Another method was even more powerful, the transit method. If a planet passed in front of its star from our point of view, it would block a small fraction of the starlight. By measuring the tiny dip in brightness, scientists could confirm that some world was there. Then, in 1992, humanity's dream became reality. Astronomers Alexander Volschon and Dale Frail discovered planets orbiting a pulsar, a rapidly spinning dead star. It was not a place where life could thrive. The radiation was deadly, the environment harsh, but it proved the unthinkable. For the first time in history, we knew with certainty that planets existed beyond our solar system. The universe was not just stars. It was filled with worlds. Just 3 years later, in 1995, another milestone changed everything. Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz announced the discovery of 51 Pegasi b, the first planet ever found orbiting a star like our Sun. This world was strange, a hot Jupiter, a giant gas planet orbiting extremely close to its star. It was not Earth-like, Not a home for us, but it was proof that stars like our sun could indeed have planets. Humanity had crossed the threshold. What was once myth, once philosophy, had become fact. From that moment, the floodgates opened. Telescopes across the world began searching the skies with new determination. Each year brought new discoveries, new planets, new mysteries. Some were giants, many times the size of Jupiter. Others were small, rocky, closer in size to Earth. Every discovery expanded our imagination, painting a picture of a universe alive with worlds. But the real revolution came with space telescopes. In 2009, NASA launched the Kepler Space Telescope, a mission designed to stare at one patch of sky, monitoring over 150,000 stars for the telltale dips of light that revealed planets. For 4 years, Kepler watched silently, sending back an avalanche of data. And the results were breathtaking. Kepler revealed thousands of planets, proving that planets are not rare. They are everywhere. Almost every star in the sky, it seemed, had worlds orbiting it. The night sky, once thought to be filled only with stars, had become a map of countless possible homes. Some of these planets captured our imagination like never before. Kepler 22b, a planet in the habitable zone of its star where liquid water could exist. Kepler 452b, nicknamed Earth's cousin, a rocky world orbiting a star much like our sun. These were not science fiction. These were real places, confirmed by science, waiting in the depths of space. For the first time, humanity was able to point to actual planets and say, there, that world might be like ours. Each discovery carried emotion, not just data. Imagine the scientists, after years of calculations, finally seeing the signal of a distant world. The heartbeat must quicken, the eyes must fill with wonder. To realize that somewhere, light years away, a planet circles its sun just as Earth circles ours, it is a feeling beyond words. It is not only science. It is poetry written in starlight. The explosion of discoveries changed how we see ourselves. Before, Earth felt unique, rare, perhaps even lonely. Now we know we are part of a vast family of worlds. Gas giants, frozen orbits, fiery infernos, and temperate rocky planets. Each one is a chapter in the story of the cosmos. Every discovery is a reminder that we are not isolated, but part of a universe that is endlessly creative, endlessly diverse. With each new planet, the question grows louder. Could any of these worlds harbor life? Could any of them hold oceans, forests, or skies that could welcome humanity? The science of discovery is not just about numbers and measurements. It is about the emotional truth that we are closer than ever to answering the oldest question of all. Are we alone? The mysteries continue to unfold. New telescopes like TESS and the James Webb Space Telescope are peering deeper, analyzing the atmospheres of distant planets, searching for signs of water, oxygen, or even the faint chemical fingerprints of life. The science is still young, but the discoveries already tell us one thing with certainty. The universe is overflowing with possibilities. Thousands of planets confirmed, and billions more waiting to be found. Every star in the sky may be a sun to another Earth. Think about that for a moment. On a clear night, when you look at the stars, you are not just seeing distant fires. You are looking at systems filled with planets, each one a mystery. Some may be barren, silent rocks. Others may be lush, vibrant worlds, alive with possibilities we cannot yet imagine. The sky is no longer empty. It is alive with destinations. The science of discovery is more than technology. It is the fulfillment of a dream carried for centuries. From the myths of the ancients to the first telescopes, from Galileo's trembling hands to Kepler's silent watch in space, humanity has been reaching for this truth. And now we hold it in our hands. We know the universe is not silent. We know the universe is not empty. We know it is full of worlds, each one whispering a story we have yet to hear. And in those stories lies our hope. Because if there are so many planets, then perhaps there is one that can save us. Perhaps hidden among the countless stars is a world waiting for us, a place where humanity can begin again. The science of discovery has given us more than knowledge. It has given us a reason to keep looking up, to keep dreaming, to keep believing that beyond Earth, there is life, there is hope, and there is a future. When scientists began to discover thousands of planets orbiting distant stars, a new question rose like a flame in the darkness. Among all these strange and wonderful worlds, could there be one that is truly like Earth? Not just a gas giant too hot to stand upon, not just a frozen sphere circling a dead sun, but a place with blue skies, flowing water, and the gentle touch of seasons. A place where humanity could step onto alien soil and feel, in some way, at home. This is the dream at the heart of our search, the search for another Earth. The first thing scientists look for is water. Not the frozen water that might lie hidden under ice, not vapor floating invisibly in the air, but liquid water, rivers, lakes, and oceans. On Earth, water is life. Every tree, every creature, every human being is built upon it. Without water, there can be no survival. That is why, whenever a new planet is found, the first question asked is simple yet profound. Could this world hold oceans? Could it carry the same life-giving liquid that shaped every living thing on Earth? The presence of water would mean hope, not just for survival, but for the possibility that life might already exist there. The next search is for air, the atmosphere. An atmosphere is more than just a blanket of gases. It is protection, shielding life from deadly radiation. It is balance, holding in warmth so that nights are not too cold and days are not too hot. And it is breath, the invisible gift that fills our lungs every moment of life. On Earth, we barely notice the air, yet without it, we could not live more than a few minutes. For another world to welcome us, it must carry this hidden gift. Scientists analyze the faintest details of starlight passing through distant atmospheres, searching for signs of oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and water vapor. With each discovery, with each possible match, humanity feels a spark of hope. Stability is another key. A planet must not only have water and air, it must also live in balance with its star. If it circles too close, it becomes a burning wasteland. Too far, and it is a frozen desert. Somewhere between these extremes lies a delicate line scientists call the habitable zone, or more simply, the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Earth sits in this fragile place, balanced perfectly to carry life. To find another Earth, we must find another world with that same balance, circling its star at just the right distance. The Goldilocks zone is more than a scientific term. It is a symbol of how delicate life truly is. Out of all the possible distances a planet could orbit, only a narrow range allows oceans to flow and air to protect. It reminds us that life is rare, fragile, and precious. And yet, as telescopes searched deeper, they began to find planets that sit within these golden boundaries. With every one discovered, the possibility grew stronger. Another Earth might be waiting. One of the most famous discoveries was Kepler 452b, often called Earth's cousin. Found by the Kepler Space Telescope, it orbits a star very much like our Sun. It sits in the habitable zone, where liquid water could exist. It is larger than Earth, a super-Earth, but it carries many of the same qualities that make our home world thrive. When scientists announced its discovery, the world paused. Headlines spread across nations. People looked up at the night sky with new wonder, and for a moment, humanity felt closer to the dream of another home. Kepler 452b is far away, too far to reach with our current technology. But its existence proved something powerful. Earth is not unique. Somewhere, light years away, another planet breathes in rhythm with our own. Even closer to us lies Proxima Centauri b, orbiting the nearest star to the Sun. Just over 4 light-years away, it sits in its star's habitable zone. If you could look up from its surface, you might see a red sky lit by its dim red dwarf star. The world may be harsh, battered by stellar flares, but it also holds possibility. Because of its proximity, Proxima Centauri b has become one of the most exciting targets for future exploration. The thought that a potentially habitable world lies only a cosmic stone's throw from Earth fills us with both longing and determination. Could this be the planet that saves us? Could this be our second home, waiting quietly in the nearest star system? Other worlds have joined this list of promise. Kepler 186f, a planet close in size to Earth, orbits within its star's habitable zone. LHS 1140b, a rocky world, may carry an atmosphere that could support life. TRAPPIST-1, a system of 7 Earth-sized planets, has captured imaginations with its remarkable arrangement. 3 of its worlds lie within the habitable zone, a family of planets that could each hold oceans. When the discovery of TRAPPIST-1 was announced, scientists and dreamers alike felt a surge of excitement. To think that one star could carry not just one Earth-like planet, but many, feels almost like a gift from the universe. Each of these discoveries deepens the emotional weight of the search. We are not just collecting numbers, not just plotting orbits. We are searching for hope, for survival, for belonging. Every new world carries a whisper. Maybe here, maybe this one. Humanity leans forward with every announcement, holding its breath, dreaming of alien skies. Yet the search is also a mirror, reflecting back upon ourselves. When we ask what makes another planet suitable for life, we are really asking what makes Earth so special. The search for another Earth reminds us that our planet is not ordinary. It sits in a delicate balance of water, air, distance, and warmth. All of these fragile gifts work together to create life as we know it. The Goldilocks zone is not just out there, it is here, and it has always been here. Our search across the stars teaches us to see Earth with new eyes, to recognize how rare and miraculous it truly is. Still, the dream of another Earth burns within us, because even as we learn to cherish our own world, we know its limits. Climate change, rising seas, fading resources, these challenges push us to look outward, to imagine a future where humanity spreads beyond a single planet. The discoveries of Kepler 452b, Proxima b, and TRAPPIST-1 are more than scientific triumphs. They are lifelines, reminders that the universe holds doors we may one day step through. The science of finding another Earth is also a story of patience. These planets lie so far away that our fastest spacecraft would take thousands of years to reach them. We cannot yet visit, cannot yet confirm their beauty with our own eyes. And yet, the knowledge that they exist is enough to fuel our imaginations. Children growing up today may live to see the first missions that study these worlds in detail. Perhaps one day, future generations will walk their surfaces, building homes beneath alien skies. The thought alone carries enough wonder to inspire us all. In the end, the search for another Earth is not only about escaping our planet, it is about understanding our place in the universe. It is about realizing that we are part of a greater story, one that stretches across light years and centuries. We search because we want to survive, yes, but we also search because we want to know, to feel, to discover what lies beyond. It is the same curiosity that drove ancient civilizations to draw maps of the stars. It is the same fire that led Galileo to point his telescope upward. It is the same hope that now drives us to look for distant oceans and skies. Perhaps one day we will find a true twin of Earth. Perhaps we will step onto its soil, breathe its air, and know we have found a second home. Or perhaps we will never leave this planet, and the search itself will remain our legacy. Either way, the journey matters. For in searching for another Earth, we are really searching for ourselves, our future, our survival, and the meaning of what it is to be human in a universe filled with worlds. When we look up at the night sky and imagine all the planets orbiting distant stars, one question echoes louder than any other. Could we live there? It is not enough to discover worlds in the Goldilocks zone, not enough to find planets with water or the right distance from their suns. The real test comes when we imagine stepping onto alien soil and asking ourselves, could this place truly be a home? To live beyond Earth would be the greatest leap humanity has ever taken, but it would also be one of the hardest challenges we have ever faced. The first obstacle would be the air. On Earth, we breathe without thinking. Every second, our lungs take in oxygen, and our bodies transform it into life. We do not question the sky above us, or the invisible blanket of gases that protect us. But on another planet, that gift may not be there. Imagine standing under a sky of a different color, only to realize that every breath could kill you. The atmosphere might be too thin, too toxic, or missing oxygen altogether. To survive, we would need to carry our own air, or build domes and habitats sealed against the alien winds. Every breath would remind us that we do not belong, that this world is beautiful but hostile, a place we must carefully tame before it can ever feel like home. Even if the air could be managed, the skies themselves might feel unsettling. On Earth, we live beneath a bright blue canopy, with familiar clouds drifting above and a sun that warms our days. But on another planet, the sky could be red or orange, or even a deep purple. The light of a red dwarf star would cast eerie hues across the land. Shadows would stretch differently. Days and nights could last much longer than we are used to, and the very rhythm of time would feel alien. To walk under such a sky would fill us with wonder, but also with a quiet homesickness. We might find ourselves missing the comfort of a blue sky and golden sunlight. Gravity is another invisible challenge. On Earth, we live in perfect balance with the pull of our planet. Our muscles, our bones, even our blood flow are shaped by Earth's gravity. On a smaller planet, with weaker gravity, we would feel light, almost like we were floating. At first, it might feel like freedom leaping higher, carrying heavy loads with ease. But over time, our bodies would begin to change. Muscles would weaken, bones could grow fragile, and hearts might struggle to pump blood the way they do now. On a larger planet, the opposite would be true. The pull would be crushing, every step would feel heavy, and even standing could exhaust us. Imagine waking up each day and feeling the weight of an entire world pressing down on you. Living under such conditions would demand strength and resilience beyond anything we have known. Then comes the question of food. On Earth, every bite we take is part of a vast web of life, from sunlight feeding plants to animals feeding on plants, and finally to us. On another planet, that web would not exist for us. There may be no edible plants, no familiar crops, nothing we can safely consume. To survive, we would need to bring seeds, soil, and knowledge with us. We would have to build greenhouses, hydroponic farms, and systems that recycle every drop of water and every particle of waste. Our survival would depend not on the planet itself, but on our ability to recreate Earth's life-giving cycles inside artificial walls. Every meal would be a reminder of how fragile our place on an alien world truly is. Protection is another silent demand. Space is not gentle. Cosmic radiation pours through the universe, and Earth's magnetic field shields us like an invisible shield. On another world, that shield may not exist. Without it, radiation from the star and from space itself could seep into our bodies, causing sickness, damage, and death. To live safely, we would need thick walls, underground shelters, or advanced technology that could replicate the shield Earth provides so naturally. Walking on the surface might be possible only for short times, always with suits and protections. It would never be as free as walking in a meadow or along an ocean shore here on Earth. Yet for all these dangers, the dream remains alive. Imagine just for a moment being one of the first humans to set foot on an alien planet. The ground beneath you is unfamiliar, the air outside your helmet unbreathable, the sky glowing with strange colors. And yet, as you look around, you realize you are standing on a new world. You are witnessing something no human in all of history has ever known. The feeling would be overwhelming, a mix of awe and fear, pride and longing. In that moment, humanity would truly become a species of more than one world. The emotional weight of living on another planet would go beyond survival. It would touch the very core of what it means to be human. Homesickness would be constant. Generations raised under alien skies might never know the comfort of Earth's forests, the sound of waves crashing against familiar shores, or the scent of rain falling on soil. They would build new cultures, new traditions, and new ways of life, shaped by the demands of their world. Over time, they might even begin to see Earth not as home, but as a distant story told by their ancestors. The connection to our origins could fade, replaced by the identity of pioneers on a new frontier. Science tells us that survival is possible. With technology, determination, and careful planning, humans could live on planets with different gravities, strange skies, and hostile atmospheres. But science alone cannot capture the full meaning of such a life. To live on another world would be to accept that we are guests in a place that does not belong to us. It would be to carry Earth within us, its air, its food, its culture, while trying to adapt to something profoundly different. It would be to walk each day, knowing that our survival depends not on the planet itself, but on the fragile systems we bring with us. And yet, perhaps this is what makes the dream so powerful. To live on another world would prove the strength of humanity. It would show that we are not bound by one sky or one ocean. It would reveal that we can carry the essence of Earth across the stars, planting seeds of life where none existed before. In this way, even the harshest planet could become a home, not because it welcomed us, but because we chose to stay, to endure, and to build. So, could we live there? The answer is yes, but not easily, not comfortably, and not without sacrifice. To live on another planet would be to live in constant tension between wonder and struggle, between the thrill of discovery and the burden of survival. It would demand more of us than we have ever given, yet it would also give back something we cannot measure, the chance to ensure that humanity's story does not end on one fragile world. Perhaps one day, when the time comes, we will take that leap. We will build homes under alien skies, raise children who have never seen Earth, and plant gardens that bloom with life on soil that once lay barren. In that future, the question will no longer be whether we could live there. The question will be whether we can remember where we came from, and whether we can honor Earth even as we spread across the stars. When we speak about reaching another world, we often imagine landing there, building homes, and planting new life. But before that dream can even begin, one truth stands in our way. The stars are unimaginably far. The distances between them are so vast that our minds struggle to truly grasp them. Light, the fastest thing in the universe, takes more than 4 years just to reach us from Proxima Centauri, the closest star after our sun. And if we wanted to reach it with today's rockets, it would take tens of thousands of years. To leave Earth and truly journey to another star is not like traveling across an ocean or even flying to the moon. It is stepping into the impossible, a voyage that feels larger than life itself. Think for a moment about what distance really means. On Earth, the farthest places can be reached in hours by plane, in days by ship. Even the moon is only 3 days away. But stars lie across gulfs so enormous that time itself becomes the biggest obstacle. If we built the fastest spaceship humanity has ever created and sent it toward another star, not a single human alive would see its arrival. Generations would be born, live entire lives, and die, while the ship still moved through the dark emptiness between suns. This is the scale of the challenge, the great journey is not just about science or engineering. It is about patience, sacrifice, and the courage to dream across centuries. Because of this, scientists and dreamers imagine extraordinary technologies. Some speak of warp drives, engines that could bend space itself, folding the universe so that distant stars become close. If such a technology were ever real, it would change everything, turning impossible distances into journeys that could be crossed in days or weeks. But warp drives still belong to the realm of theory and imagination. The physics may work on paper, but the energy required is beyond anything we can even imagine creating today. It is a dream shining on the horizon, urging us forward, even if we do not yet know how to reach it. Others imagine generation ships, vast vessels carrying entire communities across the stars. These ships would not race through space. They would drift steadily, taking hundreds or even thousands of years to reach their destination. Inside, cities would grow, children would be born, and entire civilizations would rise, all within the walls of a ship. The people who first boarded such a vessel would never live to see the new world. Their children, their grandchildren, and countless generations after them would inherit the journey, until finally, one day, a far-off descendant would step onto alien soil. Imagine living your whole life knowing you will die on a ship, your purpose not to arrive, but to continue the chain of survival so that someone you will never meet may one day see a new sunrise. There is also the dream of cryosleep. Instead of generations living and dying in the void, perhaps technology will allow us to sleep through the centuries. Frozen in time, humans could travel vast distances while only moments pass for them. They would close their eyes above Earth and open them on another world. This dream feels gentler than the sacrifice of generation ships, but it too remains uncertain. Could our bodies truly survive centuries of frozen sleep? Could machines maintain us for so long without failure? The questions remain unanswered, yet the hope remains alive, because the dream of crossing the stars demands solutions, no matter how bold. But beyond science and technology lies the deepest cost, the emotional weight of leaving Earth forever. Imagine standing on the day of departure. You look at the oceans, the forests, the mountains, and the skies one last time, knowing you may never see them again. You touch the soil beneath your feet, the place where all of human history has unfolded, and realize you are leaving not just a planet, but your only true home. To go on such a journey is not just to travel, but to let go of everything familiar. It is to step into the unknown, carrying memories that will one day fade into myth for your descendants. The loneliness of such a voyage would be unlike anything humanity has ever faced. To look out the window of a ship and see nothing but endless darkness, stars too far to touch, and Earth a fading point of light behind you, it would feel both majestic and heartbreaking. Every mile further would remind you that you are leaving behind family, history, and the comfort of a world that gave you life. You would have to find strength not just in science, but in meaning, in the belief that your sacrifice has purpose, that your journey carries the hope of survival for all humanity. And yet, even with all the sorrow, the journey would also be filled with awe. To sail among the stars, to pass through regions of space no eye has ever seen, to witness cosmic wonders like nebulae, pulsars, and galaxies drifting silently in the void, that experience would give life a new kind of beauty. On the journey, people would create new myths, new stories, and new songs about the universe around them. Children born on ships would grow up knowing nothing of Earth's sky, but they would learn to love the stars through the windows of their vessel. For them, the journey itself would become home. But can a journey so long, so uncertain, truly be endured? This is the question that cuts deepest. For some, the idea of sacrificing everything for a future they will never see feels unbearable. For others, it is a noble purpose, greater than any individual life. Humanity has always been willing to cross oceans, deserts, and wildernesses, even at great cost, to secure survival and hope. Perhaps the stars are simply the next ocean. The journey may take centuries, but if it is the only way to ensure that life continues, maybe it is worth every sacrifice. Still, the emotional scars would remain. Imagine a child asking their parents, "What is Earth? Why can't we go there?" And the parents trying to explain that Earth is gone, unreachable, a world they will only ever know from stories. The weight of that loss would echo for generations. Earth would become not just a home we left, but a memory we carry, a symbol of paradise we can never return to. The great journey would shape not just our future, but our very identity as a species. And yet, despite the pain, the dream endures. The distances may be unimaginable, the technology's uncertain, and the costs heavy. But humanity has always dreamed of more. To reach for the stars is to accept that the journey itself is part of who we are. Perhaps the first step is not to wait for warp drives or perfect cryosleep, but to begin, however slowly. To build ships, to carry our children forward, to trust that somewhere in the endless night there is a place waiting for us. The great journey is not just about science, and not just about survival. It is about meaning. To travel between the stars is to say that humanity refuses to end where it began. It is to declare that even in the face of impossible distances, we will not stop reaching, not stop dreaming. The cost will be heavy, the loneliness real, and the sacrifices immense. But at the heart of it all is a truth as vast as the cosmos. We are a species born to journey, and the stars are calling. When we imagine finding another planet that could sustain us, we often picture it empty and waiting, a blank canvas where humanity can begin again. But what if it is not empty? What if, on the far side of the galaxy, life has already taken root? It might not be the kind of life we dream of, tall beings with wisdom in their eyes, or civilizations shining with strange cities, but it could be as simple as bacteria in an alien ocean, or as advanced as an intelligent race looking at the stars just as we do. The possibility of life out there changes everything, not just in science, but in the very soul of humanity. The first step is to accept that life is stubborn. On Earth, it thrives in boiling springs, in the frozen depths of Antarctica, in the crushing darkness of the deep ocean. If life can exist here, in such extremes, why not elsewhere? Somewhere in the endless galaxies, the right chemistry may have danced together to form a spark, just as it once did on Earth. To think we are the only ones is to imagine that the universe created billions of stars, trillions of planets, and uncountable oceans in skies only for us. And yet, that thought carries both comfort and fear. Comfort, because it makes us feel special. Fear, because if we are not alone, then who else is out there? If we were to find simple life alien microbes swimming in a hidden sea beneath the ice of Europa, or strange moss clinging to the rocks of a distant planet, how would we respond? On one hand, we would celebrate, because the discovery would prove that we are not unique, that life is not an accident of Earth, but a rule of the universe. But at the same time, we would face a terrible choice. Do we protect that life, leaving the planet untouched so it can continue its own journey? Or do we use the world for ourselves, building cities and farms where alien life once lived? To step on another planet with life is not just exploration, it is intrusion. It forces us to ask whether survival gives us the right to destroy something that was never ours to begin with. Now imagine something even more powerful. Imagine that we find not simple life, but intelligence. Perhaps they are not like us at all. They may not speak with words or walk upright. They may live in oceans, glowing in the deep with languages of light, or soar through skies on wings made of thin membranes. Their minds may think in ways we cannot understand, shaped by environments unlike anything on Earth, but they would still be alive, still aware, still reaching for survival and meaning just as we do. Meeting them would be the greatest moment in history, and also the most dangerous. The danger does not only come from them, it comes from us. Humanity carries both beauty and cruelty in equal measure. Our history is filled with moments of sharing, kindness, and cooperation, but also with conquest, colonization, and destruction. When we crossed oceans on Earth, we often brought death to those who had lived peacefully for centuries. Would we repeat the same mistakes among the stars? Or would we learn to approach with humility, to share instead of taking, to listen instead of demanding? This question is not only about aliens. It is about us, about what kind of species we choose to be. Think about the fear such an encounter would bring. To realize we are not the most advanced, that we are not alone in our intelligence, would shake the foundation of everything we believe. Religions, philosophies, and entire cultures would have to ask new questions. Are we still special? Are we still chosen? Or are we just one among many, a single voice in a cosmic choir? Some would respond with wonder, embracing the beauty of connection. Others would respond with terror, fearing domination or invasion. The simple truth is that discovering life beyond Earth would not just change science. It would change humanity's soul. And yet, along with fear, there would also be hope. Imagine looking up at the night sky and knowing that someone, somewhere, is looking back, that we are no longer alone in the dark. For centuries, humans have carried loneliness in their hearts, staring at the stars with a sense of longing. To discover that another intelligence exists would end that loneliness forever. We would have someone to talk to, someone to learn from, someone to remind us that survival and meaning are not ours alone. Perhaps they would be more advanced, able to teach us how to cross the stars, how to live in balance with our worlds. Or perhaps they would be less advanced, looking at us with the same wonder we once had when imagining gods in the heavens. Either way, the encounter would bind us forever to the larger story of life in the universe. But would we be ready? That is the question that burns through every possibility. Ready to share or ready to conquer? Ready to listen or ready to dominate? The truth is that our answer may decide not only our relationship with others, but our very survival. If we arrive on another world and choose conquest, we may spark conflict that destroys us. If we arrive with humility, perhaps we may find friendship that carries us further than we could ever go alone. The stars are not just waiting for us to travel. They are waiting for us to decide who we are. There is also the haunting possibility that life is already out there, watching us. We send signals into the universe, hoping for a reply, but what if they are listening quietly, deciding whether to answer? The silence we hear may not mean emptiness. It may mean caution. Perhaps they fear us, just as we fear them. Perhaps they, too, wonder if contact would bring peace or destruction. In that silence lies both mystery and warning. The universe may be filled with life, but trust is harder to find than stars. And so, the question remains, if we discover life already there, what will we do? Will we step gently, protecting it as something sacred, as proof that we are not alone? Or will we repeat the mistakes of our past, claiming what is not ours, and destroying what we do not understand? The answer will define not just our future among the stars, but the meaning of humanity itself. To find life elsewhere is to hold a mirror to our own souls. It forces us to ask whether we are truly ready to be part of something greater, or if we will remain trapped in the shadows of our history. In the end, the possibility of life already being there is not only about them, it is about us. It is about whether we can rise above fear and greed, whether we can embrace wonder and humility. To discover life is to discover ourselves in a new way, to realize that we are not the center of the universe, but part of a vast, shared story of existence. And maybe, just maybe, that realization will help us grow. Perhaps the greatest gift of finding alien life will not be survival, or technology, or even friendship. Perhaps the greatest gift will be perspective, the reminder that life, in all its forms, is precious, fragile, and worth protecting, no matter where it is found. And if one day we stand on another world and look into the eyes of something truly alien, something alive and aware, we will feel both fear and wonder. Our hearts will beat faster, our breath will catch, and our souls will tremble at the truth that we are not alone. In that moment, the universe will become larger, richer, and more mysterious than we ever imagined. And the choice we make, whether to share or to conquer, will echo across the stars, defining who we are for all time. When we look out at the stars, searching for new worlds, it is easy to forget the one beneath our feet. Earth is our first home, the cradle of our existence, the ground where every human story has ever been written. And yet, despite its beauty, despite the miracle of life it holds, we have not treated it with the love it deserves. We have cut down its forests, poisoned its rivers, filled its skies with smoke, and turned its oceans into dumping grounds. We have taken and taken, often without giving back, as though the planet were an endless resource, as though it could carry our weight forever. But Earth is not unbreakable. It is fragile, like glass, and we are already hearing the cracks. Climate change, melting ice, rising seas, and burning forests are not distant possibilities. They are happening here and now. The Earth is warmer than it has been in thousands of years. Storms grow stronger, deserts spread wider, and species vanish faster than we can count them. Each loss is not just the end of a creature or a forest. It is the loss of a piece of the planet's soul. We are standing at a crossroads, knowing that much of the damage was caused by us, and realizing that the same hands that harm can also heal. But the question is, will we choose healing, or will we repeat destruction until there is nothing left to save? This truth haunts the search for other worlds. If we dream of living on another planet, we must ask, what will stop us from treating it the same way we treated Earth? If we burned our own forests, will we burn theirs? If we polluted our skies, will we darken alien skies too? If we drained our oceans of life, will we do the same to alien seas? History shows us that we humans are quick to take, slow to care, and often blind to the long-term cost of our choices. To carry that same blindness across the stars would be tragedy beyond measure. A new world would not erase our past. It would only test whether we have learned anything from it. We need to remember that Earth gave us everything. Every breath of air, every drop of water, every bite of food, every sunrise and sunset. This planet raised us, sustained us, and asked for nothing in return except respect. And yet we treated it as though it were disposable, as though another Earth was waiting for us if we ruined this one. But now, as we dream of other planets, we must face the harsh reality. Earth is rare. So rare that in all our searching across billions of stars, we still have not found another world exactly like it. That should terrify us. It should humble us. And it should force us to change before it is too late. Imagine stepping onto a new planet, one with blue skies and green valleys, with oceans that sparkle under alien suns. Would we pause in awe, grateful for the second chance? Or would we rush to build, to mine, to strip, and to consume? Our behavior here gives us the answer, and it is not comforting. Humanity often acts like a child who breaks toys and then demands new ones. But planets are not toys. They are living systems, delicate and interconnected. To exploit a new one without wisdom would be to repeat the greatest mistake of all, forgetting that survival depends not on conquering nature, but on living in harmony with it. And yet, there is hope, because Earth has not given up on us. Despite all the harm, it continues to provide. Forests still grow, rivers still flow, skies still glow with the colors of dawn. The planet continues to heal where it is allowed to, reminding us that it has patience, that it has resilience, that it still wants to live. This is the lesson we must carry into the stars, that carelessness destroys, but respect sustains, that greed empties, but balance restores. If we cannot learn this lesson here, then no other planet will save us. We would only be carrying our destruction with us, like a shadow that follows wherever we go. Think of the people yet to come, our children, and their children after them. They will inherit whatever choices we make today. If we poison this planet, they will drink that poison. If we burn its forests, they will inherit deserts. If we destroy its climate, they will live in storms. To leave Earth broken is not just failure, it is betrayal. And if we one day leave for another planet, those same children may ask, "Why did you not protect the first home before reaching for another?" How could we answer them? How could we justify leaving scars on Earth while dreaming of paradise elsewhere? The stars tempt us with possibility, but Earth warns us with truth. We cannot escape ourselves. Wherever we go, we carry who we are, wisdom or our foolishness, our kindness or our greed. A new planet will not change that. Only we can change that. The lesson of Earth is simple but powerful. If we do not learn to care, we do not deserve another world. The universe does not owe us a second chance. It may offer us one, but it will not protect us from ourselves. We must also remember something deeper, that Earth is not just a planet. It is memory. Every mountain holds the echoes of time. Every river sings a story. Every tree holds history in its rings. To abandon it without love would be like leaving behind a parent, a guardian who gave everything for us. Even if we find another habitable world, Earth will always be our true home, the place where life began. It is not just dirt and water. It is our origin, our identity, our soul. If we leave, we must leave with respect, not with arrogance. And perhaps that is the real plea hidden inside this dream of the stars, to change now, before it is too late. To look at Earth and realize that the miracle we are searching for elsewhere is already here. We do not need to imagine alien oceans to feel wonder. We need only to stand at the edge of our own seas at sunrise. We do not need to imagine alien skies to feel awe. We need only to look at the Milky Way above a quiet desert. We do not need to imagine alien forests to feel peace. We need only to walk through the green silence of the woods we still have left. The universe may be vast, but the miracle of life is already in our hands. So the lesson from Earth is this: do not repeat the same mistakes. Do not carry destruction into the stars. Learn to cherish what you have before reaching for more. Protect this world, because it is the measure of whether you are worthy of another. If we cannot love Earth, how could we ever love another planet? If we cannot protect our first home, how could we be trusted to protect a second? The time to change is now. Not when the seas have risen too high, not when the forests have turned to deserts, not when the skies are choked with smoke. Now, because if we learn here, if we heal here, if we become caretakers instead of destroyers here, then and only then will we be ready to step on to another world without repeating the same story of ruin. And so, as we dream of the stars, let us also dream of Earth healed. Let us imagine rivers running clear again, forests alive with song, skies clean and bright, oceans full of life. Let us imagine children walking in a world where they do not fear the air they breathe or the water they drink. Let us imagine humanity growing not by conquering, but by caring. This is not weakness. This is strength. Because the true test of a civilization is not how far it can travel, but how deeply it can protect the place it calls home. Earth is speaking to us even now. In every storm, in every drought, in every vanishing species, it is whispering, "Learn from me. Do not make the same mistakes again. My gifts are not endless. My patience is not infinite. But if you love me, if you care for me, I will continue to give, and I will teach you how to live among the stars without destroying them." This is the greatest lesson Earth has to offer, and it is one we must take to heart before it is too late. For as long as human beings have looked up at the night sky, we have wondered if somewhere, out there, another world waits for us. A place where the air is breathable, where water flows freely, where life could thrive beneath a sun of its own. This question is not just curiosity anymore. It has become a lifeline. Because as Earth grows heavier with the burden of our mistakes, the possibility of another home among the stars feels less like a dream and more like survival itself. If we cannot protect this planet forever, then perhaps we must find another, a world that could save us. Among the countless stars in the galaxy, scientists have already discovered thousands of exoplanets, planets orbiting suns far beyond our own. Some are giant gas worlds, too stormy and wild to hold solid ground. Others are frozen spheres of ice, locked in eternal night. Many are scorched wastelands, burned by the relentless heat of their suns. And yet, in this endless variety, a handful stand out. These are the Goldilocks worlds, planets not too hot, not too cold, but resting in the habitable zone where liquid water could exist. These planets ignite something powerful inside us, hope. Hope that somewhere among them, there is a second Earth waiting to be found. One of the most famous candidates lies just 40 light-years away, in the system of a small star called TRAPPIST-1. Around this dim, red sun orbits 7 rocky planets, 3 of which sit within the habitable zone. Imagine that for a moment 7 worlds circling one star, like jewels on a cosmic string, some of them possibly holding oceans, clouds, even continents. TRAPPIST-1e, in particular, has captured the imagination of scientists and dreamers alike. Its size is close to Earth's, its temperature could allow liquid water, and its distance from its star places it in the sweet spot where life might flourish. Standing on its surface, if it truly has one, you would see a sky dominated not by a blazing yellow sun, but by a faint red-orange disk casting the world in eternal twilight. Nearby planets might even be visible in the sky, so close that they would appear larger than our moon. It is a world that feels both alien and strangely familiar, as though the universe is whispering, "Here is another chance." Another world that stirs hope lies much closer, only 4 light-years away, orbiting the star Proxima Centauri, the closest neighbor to our sun. This planet, known as Proxima b, is roughly Earth-sized and sits in the habitable zone of its star. 4 light-years may sound impossibly distant, but in cosmic terms, it is right next door. Proxima b is tantalizing because it feels almost within reach. If we could find a way to travel at even a fraction of the speed of light, we might visit it within a human lifetime. Imagine the first spacecraft leaving our solar system not just to wander, but to head toward a real destination. Imagine a crew looking out of their windows at the faint glow of Proxima Centauri, growing brighter, knowing that a new world awaits them. And yet, even as these planets inspire hope, they also remind us of the enormity of the challenge. Proxima b may be in the right zone for water, but it orbits a volatile star that often erupts in deadly radiation. Could life survive such constant bombardment? Or would the planet's atmosphere be stripped away, leaving nothing but a barren rock? TRAPPIST-1e may have the right size and distance, but does it truly have oceans, or is it locked in an eternal freeze? These are questions we cannot yet answer, and they weigh heavily on the dream. Finding a planet is one thing. Building a home, there is something else entirely. Because even if we found a perfect world, the journey alone would test the limits of human endurance. 40 light-years to TRAPPIST-1, 4 light-years to Proxima b. These are distances beyond imagination. With today's fastest spacecraft, it would take tens of thousands of years to reach even the closest star. To make the journey, we would need to invent technologies that border on science fiction. Warp drives that bend space generation ships, carrying entire communities through centuries of travel, or cryosleep chambers to keep travelers frozen until they awaken in alien skies. The dream is beautiful, but it is not simple. It is not tomorrow. Still, we cannot ignore the pull of these worlds. They remind us that the universe is vast and that Earth is not alone. They whisper the possibility that our story could continue elsewhere. that the human spirit might one day spread across the stars. To think that children could one day be born under a red sun, to walk on alien soil and call it home, is to imagine a future larger than any history we have known. It is both terrifying and breathtaking. But the question that lingers in every heart is this: could humanity really build a new home there? The answer is not just about science. It is about who we are. A new home would require more than ships and machines. It would require wisdom. We would need to carry with us not just tools, but values, respect for the fragile balance of ecosystems, patience to adapt instead of forcing, humility to understand that another planet is not ours to conquer, but ours to share, whether with its nature or perhaps with other life. The danger is not that we will fail to find another world. The danger is that we will find one and treat it the same way we treated Earth. That is why the discovery of these planets is not just about escape. It is a mirror held up to us. TRAPPIST-1e, Proxima b, Kepler 452b, all of these names are not just destinations. They are questions. Will we learn to deserve them? Will we grow enough to build not just a new home, but a better home? Will we finally understand that survival is not about running from one world to another, but about learning how to live in harmony with the ones we are given? Perhaps the planet that could save us is not simply one that can sustain life, but one that forces us to transform ourselves. Because in the end, survival is not about oxygen or water or temperature. It is about meaning. If we bring greed, war, and carelessness to another planet, we will destroy it as surely as we are destroying Earth. But if we bring compassion, cooperation, and humility, then even the harshest world could become a paradise. The real question is not, can we find a new Earth? But can we become a new humanity? And so, the search for the planet that could save us continues. It is written in the data from telescopes, in the faint dimming of starlight when a planet passes across its sun, in the whispers of signals traveling across the void. Somewhere out there, perhaps within reach, a world may already be waiting. A blue ocean shimmering under a distant star. A sky filled with clouds never seen by human eyes. A soil where the first human footprint could be pressed, and with it, the beginning of a new story. We dream of that moment, not because we wish to abandon Earth, but because we wish to continue. To carry the flame of life further, to spread it across the universe, to make sure that humanity's story does not end here. Whether on TRAPPIST-1e, or Proxima b, or a planet yet to be discovered, the dream of another home reminds us of something vital, that life is rare, precious, and worth protecting. The planet that could save us may be far away, but the decision of whether we deserve it begins here, today, on the ground we stand upon. There has always been something inside us that refuses to stay still. From the first humans who walked out of Africa, crossing deserts and oceans, to the explorers who sailed into the unknown, risking storms and death, our story has always been one of movement. We are wanderers by nature, restless souls searching for what lies beyond the horizon. It is not simply about survival, though survival has always been part of it. It is about something deeper, of fire that burns inside the human spirit. A hunger to know, to see, to touch, to experience what lies just beyond the reach of our hands. That same fire is what pushes us to look at the stars and whisper, "What if?" For many, the idea of leaving Earth and searching for new worlds sounds like desperation, as if we are running from a home we have broken. But it is more than that. It is not just about escaping destruction or finding a lifeboat for humanity. It is about growth. It is about curiosity. When we reach for the stars, we are not only asking, how do we survive? We are asking, who are we? Exploration has always been tied to identity. When we push into the unknown, we discover not just new lands or planets, we discover ourselves. Think of what it meant when humans first gazed at the moon and dreamed of walking there. It was not necessary for survival. No food, No water, no shelter waited on that barren rock. And yet, in 1969, when Neil Armstrong set his foot on the lunar surface, billions of people felt the Earth shift beneath them. Not physically, but spiritually. For the first time in history, humanity saw itself as one. Not as nations, not as tribes, but as a single species standing on another world. That step was not about survival. It was about spirit. It was about proving that we could reach further than we thought possible, and in doing so, change forever how we saw ourselves. This is what reaching for the stars gives us: perspective. When astronauts look down at Earth from orbit, they often speak of what is called the overview effect. They see our planet not as a map divided by borders, not as a battlefield of nations, but as a fragile blue sphere floating in darkness. They see how thin the atmosphere is, how small the continents are, how delicate life truly is, and they come back changed. They come back with a renewed sense of responsibility, with the awareness that everything we fight over is so small compared to the vastness of the universe. If a handful of people can feel this transformation by leaving Earth, imagine what it would mean for all of us to reach another star. The search for other worlds does something profound, stretches our imagination. It forces us to confront our limits and to dream beyond them. To even think of building a ship that could carry humans to another solar system is to admit that the impossible might not be impossible forever. This mindset does not just prepare us for space. It changes how we live here on Earth. The technologies we dream of for survival among the stars' sustainable energy, recycling systems, advanced medicine, artificial intelligence, are not only tools for the future, they are solutions for the present. The pursuit of the stars becomes a mirror, showing us both what we lack and what we could become. But beyond science and technology, beyond rockets and telescopes, there is something emotional at the heart of this search. It is the yearning for meaning. Life is fragile. The universe is vast. And every human heart has at some point asked the same quiet question: why are we here? We may never find the ultimate answer, but in reaching for the stars, we create one. To explore, to expand, to carry the spark of life into the void. This becomes our meaning. Even if we never meet another civilization, even if we never find a second Earth, the act of trying defines us. It shows that we are more than creatures of instinct, more than survivors. We are dreamers, and that is what makes us human. Some fear that seeking other worlds will make us forget our own, that it will distract us from caring for Earth. But perhaps the opposite is true. When we imagine starting fresh on another planet, we are forced to ask ourselves what we would do differently. What mistakes would we refuse to repeat? What values would we carry with us? This reflection turns back on Earth. We realize that the changes we dream of for a new world, clean energy, peaceful cooperation, respect for nature, are the very things we need here, right now. In this way, the search for the stars becomes not an escape, but a lesson. It teaches us to see Earth not as a prison, but as a precious beginning. Exploration has always demanded sacrifice. To leave behind the familiar for the unknown requires courage, and sometimes it costs lives. But history shows us that those sacrifices are never in vain. They open doors for future generations. They expand the limits of what humanity believes is possible. When we think of the people who may one day journey to another star, we must recognize the weight of that choice. They would leave behind everything: family, culture, the sky of Earth, knowing they may never return. And yet, there will be those willing to go, not just for survival, but because of the calling inside them, because their hearts beat to the rhythm of exploration, because they cannot ignore the pull of the unknown. Imagine what it would mean if centuries from now children looked up at a sky filled with two suns, or played in the soil of an alien world, or swam in oceans that had never known human touch until then. Imagine the songs, the art, the stories that would emerge from those experiences. Entire new cultures would be born among the stars, shaped not by Earth alone, but by the worlds they now call home. Humanity would no longer be a species of one planet, but a civilization of the galaxy. And through this, our story would no longer be about survival alone, but about flourishing. Yet perhaps the greatest gift of exploration is humility. The more we discover about the universe, the more we realize how small we are. And strangely, this smallness does not diminish us, it elevates us. To know that we are tiny specks in a vast cosmos, and yet capable of imagining, dreaming, creating, reaching, that is a kind of miracle. It means that the universe is not just empty space. It means the universe is alive, because we are here to see it, to wonder about it, to become part of it. In the end, reaching for the stars is not about running from death. It is about embracing life. It is about refusing to let fear be the final word. It is about carrying forward the story of humanity, not because we must, but because we can. Because there is something sacred about continuing, about planting seeds of life where none existed before. This is the spirit that has driven us from caves to cities, from forests to oceans, from Earth to the moon. It is the spirit that will carry us further still. And when we finally do touch another world, when the first human steps onto alien soil, it will not only be a victory of science or technology. It will be a victory of the human spirit. It will be proof that we are more than fragile bodies bound to one planet. It will be proof that even in the face of darkness and distance, we dared to dream and we dared to follow that dream. And in doing so, we will have changed forever not only where we live, but who we are. This is what lies beyond survival. Not just the continuation of our species, but the awakening of our spirit. A recognition that we are explorers, that curiosity is our greatest gift, and that meaning is something we create with every step into the unknown. The search for other worlds is not only about planets. It is about perspective, courage, and hope. It is about becoming more fully human than we have ever been. When we look at the stars and dream of distant worlds, it is easy to forget the truth that lies right beneath our feet. For all the wonders we imagine among the galaxies, Earth remains the only place we know that can cradle human life. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the soil that feeds us, all of it, is part of a perfect balance that no other planet has yet offered us. We talk about the possibility of building new homes light years away, but the fact remains, Earth is still our first home, and right now, it is our only home. It is the place that shaped us, the place that gave us life. To abandon it, or to treat it carelessly, is to forget who we are. The story of Earth is not just a scientific one. It is a love story between humanity and the planet that raised us. Every tree, every mountain, every river is part of that story. The sound of rain on rooftops, the smell of flowers in spring, the warmth of the sun on our skin, these are not just background details of life. They are threads in the fabric of our existence. We carry Earth inside us in ways we do not always see. The iron in our blood was forged in ancient stars, but it was Earth that gathered it into our bodies. The water in our veins once flowed in rivers and oceans before becoming part of us. Every breath we take connects us to the forests and fields that keep this planet alive. To harm Earth is to harm ourselves because we are inseparable from it. And yet, for centuries, we have treated Earth as if it were endless, as if its resources were infinite, as if it could endure anything we did to it. We have cut down forests faster than they can regrow. We have filled the air with smoke and the oceans with plastic. We have hunted species to extinction and poisoned the soil that feeds us. We act as though Earth is indestructible, but in truth, it is fragile. The balance that allows life to flourish is delicate, and once broken, it may not return. We do not own Earth. It is not ours to use without care. We are its children, and like any child, we have a responsibility to honor and protect the parent that gave us life. There is a painful irony in dreaming of colonizing other planets while we destroy the one we already have. We speak of building greenhouses on Mars while forests on Earth burn. We imagine drinking recycled water in space stations while rivers on Earth run dry. We design technology to survive alien climates while we change our own climate here at home. The truth is unavoidable. If we cannot care for the planet that made us, how can we believe we will succeed on another? If we carry the same mistakes into the stars, then all we will spread is destruction. The first responsibility of any species is to protect the ground it stands on. For us, that ground is Earth. But protecting Earth is not only about survival. It is about gratitude. This planet has given us everything: the food on our tables, the air in our lungs, the beauty that fills our days. When we stand on a cliff and watch the waves crash below, or when we walk through a forest filled with birdsong, we feel something beyond science. We feel connection. We feel wonder. These are not luxuries. They are reminders of our bond with the world that nurtures us. Protecting Earth is an act of love, a way of honoring the gift we have been given. It is saying, we remember where we came from, and we will not forget. The Earth still needs us. It needs us to act, to change, to heal the wounds we have caused. Every tree planted, every river cleaned, every effort to reduce our impact is a thread of hope woven back into the fabric of this planet. And the truth is, Earth responds. The moment we give it a chance, life begins to return. Forests regrow. Animals come back. Skies clear. Oceans heal. It is as if Earth is not angry with us, but waiting for us to remember who we are. It is offering us another chance, but that chance will not last forever. We must take it now, before it is too late. Even as we dream of other worlds, we must never forget this one. Earth is not a stepping stone to the stars. It is the foundation of everything. Every rocket that leaves our atmosphere was built from Earth's metals, powered by Earth's resources, and guided by Earth's minds. Every astronaut who has looked back at our planet carries Earth in their heart. Without Earth, we are nothing. To protect it is not to limit ourselves. It is to ensure that we have the strength and wisdom to explore beyond it. The stars may be our future, but Earth is our anchor. Without it, we are lost. Imagine a future where we succeed in reaching other planets, where we build homes beyond the solar system. If we do this while destroying Earth, what story will those future generations tell? They will not remember us as explorers, but as fugitives, people who abandoned their home because they could not care for it. But if we protect Earth, if we heal it, even as we reach outward, then we give them a different story. We give them a story of hope, of balance, of a species wise enough to honor its roots while reaching for the sky. That is the legacy worth leaving. There is something deeply emotional about remembering that Earth is not just our home, but our mother. It held us in its arms when we were fragile. It fed us when we were hungry. It sheltered us when we were vulnerable. Every culture in history has sung songs, told stories, and created rituals honoring the land, the sun, the rivers, and the skies. Deep down, we have always known that we belong to this planet, but somewhere along the way, we began to forget. We began to act as if Earth existed only to serve us. Now is the time to remember again. Now is the time to see Earth not as property, but as family. As we search the stars, let us carry this truth with us. No matter where we go, Earth will always be our first home. It is the soil in our hands, the ocean in our blood, the sky above our childhood dreams. Even if we live one day among distant suns, we will still carry the memory of this blue planet. It will always be the place where life began. It will always be the world that taught us how to love, how to hope, how to dream. We must not abandon it. We must not turn our backs on the gift it has given us. And so the choice is ours. We can continue down the path of carelessness, hoping that another world will save us. or we can rise to the responsibility of protecting the one we already have. We can choose gratitude over greed, healing over harm, love over neglect. If we do, then even as we reach for the stars, Earth will remain with us, strong and alive, a reminder of where we came from and what we must never forget. The Earth still needs us, and perhaps just as much we still need Earth. For in the end, no matter how far we travel, no matter how many planets we discover, there will never be another place quite like this one. There will never be another sky that feels like home, another ground that carries our history, another world that whispers our name with every breeze. Earth is unique. Earth is irreplaceable. Earth is us. And if we love it enough, if we protect it with all our strength, it will carry us forward, not only into the future, but into the stars. When we look up at the night sky, scattered with stars too many to count, something stirs inside us. It is the same feeling our ancestors must have felt thousands of years ago when they first gazed upward, wondering what lay beyond. That sense of wonder is not just curiosity. It is part of who we are. We are a species born to dream, born to ask questions, born to reach out into the unknown. Yet even as we look outward, we must never forget the truth that grounds us. We are children of Earth, and everything we are, everything we love began here. The cosmos is vast, mysterious, and endless, but our story starts on this one blue planet, and that connection will never fade. To be human is to live between two worlds, the world of the ground beneath our feet and the world of the sky above our heads. We belong to both. The earth cradles us, but the stars call to us. That balance is what makes our journey so powerful. We do not explore the universe because we are lost. We explore because we are alive. We are driven by the belief that there is always more to see, more to learn, more to become. Every step we take into the unknown expands not only our knowledge, but our spirit. We are not just surviving. We are reaching for something greater. But in our search for other worlds, we are reminded of something profound, the rare miracle of the one we already have. The more we study distant planets, the more we realize how extraordinary Earth is. Out there, most worlds are barren, frozen, scorched, or silent. But here, life bursts forth in endless forms. Here, oceans dance with waves. Here, forests breathe with us. Here, the sky paints itself in colors at dawn and dusk. Earth is not ordinary. It is a wonder, a treasure, a miracle. When we understand that, we feel not just curiosity about the universe, but deep gratitude for the home that made us possible. And yet, gratitude alone is not enough. The future of Earth depends on what we choose to do. We cannot turn away from the damage we have caused, nor can we wait for another world to save us. If we have the courage to dream of the stars, then we must also have the courage to heal the soil, the air, and the waters of our own world. The challenge before us is not only technological, it is moral. It asks us, will we rise to protect what we love, or will we let it slip away? The stars will not answer that question for us. Only we can. There is a beautiful truth about humanity. We are capable of change. Time and again, when faced with great challenges, we have found ways to rise. We have ended wars, healed wounds, and built bridges where once there were walls. We have cured diseases, crossed oceans, and set foot on the moon. We have done what once seemed impossible. And now we are asked to do it again, not only to dream of other worlds, but to protect the one we already have. If we can bring the same passion, the same brilliance, the same courage to this task, then we can save Earth, and in doing so, we can earn our place among the stars. The universe is waiting for us, but it is not in a hurry. It will be there long after we are gone. What matters is not how quickly we reach it, but how wisely we prepare for the journey. If we go into the cosmos with careless hearts, we will only spread destruction. But if we go with gratitude, with humility, and with love for our home, then we will carry with us the best of who we are. The stars are not just a destination, they are a reflection of our own spirit. To reach for them is to honor the dream that has lived within us since the beginning. Every generation is given a choice, to look only at what is close or to dream of what lies beyond. Our generation is living at a turning point in history. For the first time, we have the knowledge, the technology, and the imagination to reach for other worlds. But we also stand at the edge of great risk. If we fail to protect Earth, if we ignore the warnings written in melting ice and rising seas, then our dreams will turn to dust. The choice is clear. Protect this planet, and the stars will welcome us. Forget this planet, and the stars will remain forever out of reach. There is something timeless about the human spirit. We have always told stories about journeys, about leaving home, about seeking new horizons. But every great story reminds us of something essential. You cannot understand where you are going unless you honor where you came from. Earth is our beginning, and even if we build cities on Mars, even if we one day sail among the stars, Earth will remain our heartbeat. It will always be the place where humanity first opened its eyes, where it first dreamed of more. To forget Earth is to forget ourselves, so let us choose differently. Let us dream, but let us also protect. Let us reach for the stars, but let us carry Earth with us in our hearts. Let us remember that to be human is not only to explore, but to love. When we love the world that gave us life, we give meaning to our search for others. When we protect this fragile blue planet, we prove that we are ready to honor the wonders we might one day find beyond. And when we invite others to join in this dream, we remind ourselves that this journey is not for one person or one nation, but for all of humanity together. This is where you come in. You are part of this story. Every choice you make, every moment you spend caring for this planet, adds to the future we are building. And by being here, listening, wondering, dreaming, you are already part of this journey into the unknown. Together, we can imagine new worlds, we can protect our own, and we can keep reaching for something greater. But we cannot do it alone. We need each other. We need voices, ideas, and hearts that care. We need a community of dreamers who believe that the Earth matters and that the stars are waiting. So I invite you now, from the bottom of my heart, if this journey moved you, if you felt something stir as we spoke of Earth, of the stars, of what it means to be human, then join us. Be part of this growing circle of dreamers, explorers, and protectors. Subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the greater mission of keeping wonder alive. Share these stories. Carry them with you. Let them remind you of the power we hold when we stand together for something bigger than ourselves. Because this is not the end of the story. It is only the beginning. There are more mysteries waiting to be uncovered, more worlds waiting to be imagined, more questions waiting to be asked. And every time you return, every time you listen and wonder, you keep this flame alive. You keep the dream alive. The universe is vast, and our journey has only just begun. Together, we will walk further, reach higher, and keep searching for our place among the stars. And as we go, let us carry Earth with us. Let us honor it, protect it, love it. For this planet is not only where our story begins, it is the story itself. Earth gave us life, it gave us dreams, and it gave us the stars to reach for. It is still our home, and it still needs us. May we never forget that. May we never stop dreaming, and may we never stop exploring. So let this be the call. Dream with me, protect with me, and explore with me. Together, let us rise as caretakers of Earth and seekers of the cosmos. Subscribe now, join the journey, and let us keep looking upward, because our future, our destiny, and our greatest story are waiting among the stars.